All right, now into a month now, the longest government shutdown in history, and a lot of folks are doing what they can to help the better than 800,000 federal workers affected and more. 2,200 GoFundMe campaigns have been launched. They've raised a lot of money, about $630,000 so far, and that's exponentially growing. Former Ohio Secretary of State Trump transition team member Ken Blackwell with us right now. Do you think, Ken, that whoever is blamed for starting this and keeping it going, it is going to boomerang on the president? The people are going to associate their pain, these workers' pain, and all the GoFundMe campaigns to help them out as lying at the foot of the White House. What do you say?
No, I don't think so, Neil. I think the president has shown very clearly that he's willing to come to the table and negotiate. I mean, in a theoretical or theatrical framework, this is New York tough meets California crazy. But in the final analysis, this is the president of the United States who has as his responsibility the national security of this nation, basically saying there's a common sense approach. If we could just spend 1/10 or 1% of a $4 trillion budget on a barrier that would enhance security, and if we don't, we will continue to see human misery in our neighborhoods and our families as a consequence of all of the untoward activity, whether it's drug trafficking, human trafficking, criminal elements coming across a open border, a porous border on our southern border. I don't think the president is going to lose this argument. I mean, I think he had a setback when he prematurely said he would own it. But I actually think he can work right through that.
But
and I thought what he did yesterday.
The own it comments notwithstanding, again, but the fact that he made a point of leveraging this with a government shutdown was the right way to go about it, because obviously, well, that's common procedure, it seems, and given the number of shutdowns we've had, it's just going to embolden the next president to do the same thing to get what he or she wants, and on we go. And especially coming as it did at a time when they did have a plan. And this was before Democrats got locked in this position of no wall, or Nancy Pelosi calling it immoral. At that time, the rhetoric hadn't ratcheted up to the degree it has now, and it's too late for a deal.
Well, this president was taken to the cleaners on the last budget deal, and you know that. And he basically said at that point that he wouldn't go down that path again. It wouldn't, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, but
and
what he didn't like about that last budget deal, what he didn't like about that last budget deal was all the goodies added on and how much spending went into it. So actually, this latest budget, it's got even more goodies and more spending. So that's not the issue.
Well, and I think this president is basically saying, look, we're going to do what this federal government was designed to do, and that is to protect the national security and the public safety of our citizens. That's our first obligation. And he has shown a willingness to do that. But I think he has to draw a line in the sand. This is a responsible line. He's basically tried to make sure that he has softened the blow as much as he can. But the reality is that we can talk about the legitimate suffering that's going on now by 800,000 employees, but there is a counterbalance to it, and that is that if we don't get this right in terms of our national security, there is a whole lot more human misery and suffering and death that takes place as a consequence of irresponsible federal bureaucracy being indifferent to the safety of people in our families and in our neighborhoods. I mean, this is a principal fight. This is not some silly fight. This is a principal fight. And as a person who was a mayor of a major city, I can tell you the scourge of drugs, the death associated with drug trafficking coming in through a porous border is in fact problematic and something that needs to be addressed not only by governors, but by the federal government.
But by a wall. The wall is the only way to do that?
No, it's not just the wall. And again, we're talking about $5.7 billion, which is 1/10 or 1%, but he's talked about a comprehensive approach. Inclusive in that comprehensive approach is a wall, a barrier, whether it be steel barrier or a wall. But the reality is that this president has given and given and given, and he's basically said no more. And the Democrats who have voted for way more funding of a physical barrier than this in the past, they are only resisting because Donald Trump is asking. But what they are missing is that he's not asking for his own sake. He's asking for the sake and safety of the people of this country.
All right. Ken Blackwell, I'm going to take a leap here and say you take the president's side on this one. Always good seeing you. Be well.
Always good to see you. Happy New Year, brother.
To you as well, my friend.